Stretch. I don't know what you got
better
planned.
stretch. Yo, what's up? You know what?
Oh, gosh.
I'm feeling good. I'm bringing it this morning. Just go with me, all right?
All right, I'll go with you. What is this music? They can't hear that. You know that, right? What?
Just play it.
I don't know what this is.
Just dance.
This is a boring.
That's how I'm feeling this morning. Just wait.
What's that?
Ready?
What is her name? Gwen Stefani. Oh! Our kids are sleeping.
Oh, yeah, just wait.
Oh, you suck.
Oh, here we go, girl.
Thank you.
Come on, get up on it.
Keep on dancing. All right, turn that off.
Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome.
You lost your
Oh, you
mind.
didn't record it?
I didn't know
You
what
didn't
you were
record
doing.
the show?
You can't do that.
Girlfriend.
Get sued by somebody.
Quit. Watch out, bro. You might get copyright infringement. I know.
That's what I just said.
I was thinking about that.
I didn't record it for
might
that
not,
very
it might
reason.
Not post, but
All right,
yo,
here we go.
it was fun.
Hello and welcome to Anatomy of Marriage Radio. I'm your host, Melanie Studley.
What's up, my good friends? My name is Seth Studley. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and as you know, if you called the pre-show, I'm feeling hella good, right? It looks good outside. I got to work out. We're doing good. We're ready to start the show off. Welcome to AOM Radio. Today's show is brought to you by...
Today's show is sponsored by the Anatomy of Marriage app, the couples counseling app that's fast, fun, and never boring. You can check it out at anatomyofmarriage.com. It's the thing that you need if your marriage ain't doing right. It's the thing that you need if you want your marriage to do better. It's just the thing you need. Go check out the Anatomy of Marriage app.
This is right. So, as we do every time we come on AOM Radio, we do 4 things, you guys. We call them the pigs. We do a prayer, intention, and gratitude, and then we take 1 or 2 questions, 1 or 2 conversation starters from the Anatomy of Marriage app. So, you want to pray it up this morning, girl?
Sure.
Right. You're still dancing, aren't you?
Stuck in my head now.
You're still dancing.
I am. All right.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Dear God, thank you so much for all of our blessings, Lord. Thank you for the books that change our lives. Thank you for the people who change our lives, like Kev and Melissa. Thank you so much for all of the amazing people out there doing amazing work. Thank you for our children's and all of it. Help us have a wonderful day. Amen.
Amen. When she's talking about Kev and Melissa, we are talking about Kev and Melissa Fredericks.
Love Hour.
The Love Hour, Kev on Stage, Miss Kev on Stage. You guys, if you don't chill with them, you got to go over there and chill. They are...
The episode that they just put out about self-sabotage is phenomenal.
Yeah.
If you do one thing today, if you stop listening to our show, start listening to theirs.
Start listening to them.
So flipping good.
And this is what Melissa says. We've been on her show. We chill with them. She says that we are the black them, and they are the white us, right?
We love them.
Yeah, they are super chill.
Wish they didn't live so far away.
What's up, girlfriend? How you doing this morning?
What else? What were you gonna say?
I wish Devin was around and play some golf. I hope his family's doing it. Okay, so we do our prayer, then we do our intentions, right? So every day, how you bring it, how you start your day, usually is how the rest of the day goes, right? So we make sure that we start our day out with good intentions and not just like, oh, I wish I could do good today. It's no, I am going to do good today. Here's my plan. Here's how I'm going to do it, right?
Ooh, like Ryan Mickler posted on his thing. He said, it was a couple days ago. He goes, I know I'm going to crush it today. Why? Because it's on my calendar. Like he's like, I plan to win.
That's right.
And everything. And that's basically what intentions are. So we encourage you to do them together.
That's right.
With your partner. And they are based off of the thing you did yesterday that you didn't love.
If you fail to plan, guess what?
You plan to fail.
Exact. What's up, Chamaya? That's my jam. Oh, that is a good jam. I listened to it on the way home from the gym this morning, and I was just so funny. Bobbing and weaving in my car.
I can't even think of the last time I heard that song.
It's a feel-good song.
Oh, it's good.
What's up, Valerie? What's up, Shauna? Okay, so intentions. Today, I intend. So, you know what? I went to the gym. I woke up at 5. I've Oxforded my coaching clients. Why?
Because what? I don't know.
It's in the calendar.
That's right.
So I'm planning to crush it. You know what I'm saying? So today, I plan to bring it in everything that I do. Got coaching clients later. Going to be time with you later. We're going to chill. And so that's what my intention is today.
Awesome. I love it.
So throw down your intention quick and we'll go into the gratitude.
My intention is to keep on bringing it. Like,
keep on dancing?
That was, so like yesterday, I had this realization because I was like, Seth needs to get rid of all the crap on the side of his bed. Seth needs to do this. Seth needs to do that. And I was like, what am I thinking? No, I can do that for him. Watch me bring it. And so that's what I did. Watch me whip. And it was amazing. And that's my intention, to keep on acting that way, doing that. And I have loads of thoughts about it. I want to talk about it, but that ain't our show today.
Yeah, so gratitude.
What's up from Tulsa?
Yeah, word up, Tulsa. Let's see, on YouTube Live, I started following you guys when I heard you all on their show.
Yeah, they're the best. They're the best.
They're good. So hopefully we're going to collab with them again. So yes, okay, gratitude. Hello. Just what you said, what your intention was yesterday. So I come home and I have ADD, right? I have a million ideas. And it's managed, and I think I do pretty good with it, right?
Mischief managed.
Mischief managed, that's right. So I have stuff and a bunch of ideas and whatever. And Melanie really organized and kicked some butt yesterday, and basically organized my stuff, right? She went through my dresser drawers, which I have a ton of clothes and all kinds of hunting gear in there, just random stuff. That's the junk drawer, and she cleaned it out for me in a very nice way, because she said, you know what? Yeah, Seth should do this and Seth should do that and all this stuff. And she said, he doesn't have time. I have time right now. I can do it for her. So that was an act of service that I really, really appreciated yesterday. And I don't know where she went. So,
I gotta get my computer. I'm so sorry.
Oh, she's getting her computer to read the question. Brianna says, Nene was my nickname when I was little. So when that song came out, I claimed it so I can whip.
That's so
Nene.
cute. I love that.
That's funny. Okay,
Nene.
what's your
Sweet.
gratitude?
My gratitude is that, so yesterday and I think the day before, we've had like just these huge conversations about life, long-term plans, our goals, our visions, how we want to live differently. And you had this whole idea about like the studio idea, right? Like we were talking about the shipping container, all this stuff, whatever. Sounds crazy. But he's like, I got this idea. I've thought about it. I've done research or whatever. And I was like, I love that you've done all that work, but I honestly don't think that that's what we need to do. I think that's old thinking.
We don't
I
need
think
to
that's
focus on that right
I think it's going to get us off track. I think it's whatever. And I was so happy that you were just like, all right, let's keep on moving with different ideas then. And you did, because normally like the old versions of us would be like, well, that's just the best idea. Like we get all butthurt and like fight about it. And we didn't. And that was amazing. And just like the growth that's taken place even in the last week in our marriage is amazing. And so I'm very thankful that you have enough self-awareness, self-control, growth mindset, all of that to hear that as not a confrontational, conflicting.
Well, it had a lot of how you stated it too. Like you weren't saying like, well, it was very respectful. What's up, Joe? What was I saying? You weren't throwing shade. You weren't saying that's a dumb idea. You always do this, blah blah blah. Like let's think of it differently. And
hey, Tep, you can get the computer now.
Let's not move on that right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's really good. Okay. All right. You gonna read the question?
Yes. I'm sorry. I got it. There you go, buddy. I love you. I get on my computer and I thought I needed it. I didn't. So today's question is about how can I talk to my How can I talk about premarital sex to my Christian friends? And this is a listener question. It was sent in to hello@anatomyofmarriage.com. If you've got a question, send it in to the show at hello@anatomyofmarriage.com.
That's right.
So it says, and before I read this question, you guys, I don't want to hear this from you. I don't want to hear you write in and say, you're not a Christian show anymore. Y'all don't believe in Jesus. No. Okay, here's our thoughts.
Y'all need Jesus.
Y'all need Jesus. Y'all need Jesus and lots of sex ed, okay? When we don't talk about this stuff is when it becomes dysfunctional. We are out here talking about the things that people don't talk about in the church because everybody needs this stuff. And when you don't talk about healthy sexuality and all of the sexuality in church and the kids don't learn this stuff, they go out and they have disgustingly dysfunctional marriages and they hurt each other and they hurt themselves. So that's why we're out here talking about this. Don't get mad at me.
And you know that most of you church-going folks did stuff.
Don't write in and be all pissy about it.
You did stuff. You touched things.
You be bumping uglies.
You touched other people's things. Before you got married. So don't be coming at us all sideways.
Right. And if this makes you mad and you think, oh, that's not for me, then so what? This episode's not for you. So don't get your panties in a bunch.
This is a question that somebody brought in, not like, oh, Southern Miller, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Right? We're answering this question to try to help. So
Right. Okay, so here we go. It says, my fiance and I have not waited to have sex until marriage. And in all honesty, I don't feel bad about it or like I'm doing anything wrong. In parentheses, I don't feel shameful. We have a lot of Christian friends in our life, and I'm very vulnerable. I'm a very vulnerable and real person. But with this topic, I get so scared to be truthful about this with them. I grew up in a very Christian home and had a whole weekend getaway dedicated to talking about purity when I was 13 and getting a purity ring. My views about a lot of things regarding Christianity, especially this topic, have changed years after that. But I still struggle to talk to people about this area because most people would say, I'm not following Jesus if this is a decision that I'm making. How would you navigate talking about this? Thanks so much.
So just being real about it and actually putting it into perspective. So I grew up Christian and, purity ring and all this stuff. And I did tons of stuff before I got married. So just like everybody
You got
else.
a purity ring?
No, I didn't get a purity ring.
Hey, but why don't boys get purity rings? Weird.
That's right.
Stick that in your Christian. Anyway.
Somebody says, "Oh, you bet, about to get all Nene up in here." We're about to get.
That should be my alter ego name. I think that's a fun idea. You want to know my alter
Chris
ego
is getting
name?
Nene before marriage.
Ooh, my alter ego. I won't go in there right now. We'll talk about it in a different episode.
So anyway, I don't know what I was saying. Oh, okay. So let's just talk about it this way. People pick and choose whatever ideology they adhere to, whatever religion they adhere to. You know what I'm saying? So Republicans, stand really super strong on this. Democrats super strong on that. But over here, okay, well, that's not the biggest issue in the world. But for some reason, Christians are all about abortion, the gays, and premarital sex, right? But other stuff like lying or gossiping or
cheating on your wife
or eating 5,000 calories in one day because you deserve it is just ridiculous.
Or like beating your children.
Right. All these things. So so first of all, let's talk about it like, okay, those three things: abortion, premarital sex, and what did I say?
The gays,
right? Right. We're not coming at it from that like, okay, oh, you know what? Yeah, to be a Christian means you are absolutely super strong on these three things. If you don't do these, then blah, 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 right? So let's not look at it that way. Let's look at it as like, okay, everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial, right? Live a balanced life. And I don't know, like coming from this. So I like the one thing that there's no shame about this, right? There's some freedom. And all you people saying, oh, freedom, there's Christ. No, I'm saying, hey, when you like yourself, when you are, solid in yourself, guess what? You're going to make good decisions that glorify whatever deity you're into. You know what I'm saying? I know this sounds weird because like this isn't coming from a super evangelical pastor perspective. Like, oh, you should do this. I'm not going to go there. Right? Because a ton of people want me to. You didn't say this. You didn't quote this verse. You didn't say this. Right. No, I'm not going to do that. So don't get, instantly mad at me.
Watcher says, I knew a guy who had a ring.
Oh, wow.
True love waits. I didn't know that guys did that.
Kelton's girl. I knew a guy who had a ring. Oh, you just
literally.
Yeah, true love waits. And, the fallout from the whole purity movement culture kind of thing. So what would you say to this person without being like, sure, do what you want. That's great. That's awesome.
I have loads of thoughts about it.
All right, good.
But the first one is, the question I have is, who are you talking about premarital sex with? Like this question says, how do I talk about this with people? Like, who are you talking to about this? Which I just think is funny.
Her Christian friends.
I know, but why? I just think it's funny. Like, I'm not trying to knock anybody. It's a funny thought to be like, I just can't figure out how I can talk to people about premarital sex. Oh, it's a funny thought. Was all I'm saying. Right.
Bill says, I never understood how Christians look at sexuality as a bad thing. It was God who created it. If you find it hard to talk about sex with your Christian friends, join AOM Women's Group and find sex positive people who speak freely there. So, Bill, that's awesome. I always love your input. You said, I never understood how Christians look at sexuality as a bad thing. God created it. So this is TMI, but I don't care because we talk about anything. So when we were going through all of our stuff, maybe like a year after, like we would be together, we would have sex, and we would actually pray during.
During
and that sounds
intercourse.
No, really, like this. Here.
If you're not watching the video, he just made a very inappropriate hand gesture, and it was very funny.
That was funny. Like you got shocked at it. It reminded me of Melissa when Kid or something.
That was funny.
But the point is, like, okay, if God created this and whatever, omnipresence, omniscient, all this stuff, then why wouldn't we do that to actually protect it? Because why? What? Because like it was a battlefield of the mind, right? Like,
ooh, Joyce Meyer, Mama Joyce.
That's right. So like we were praying or meditating or anything you want to call it, being intentional of like, hey, help us to be present here right now. And if anything, it was like a switch of like, okay,
change the dynamics.
Be present. Be right here. Connection, right? I mean, it was all about connection. Right. It wasn't about like pleasure, like oh, they're below sleep. It was real connection there.
And don't do that.
All right, go.
So the thing I think too in that is that one of the most amazing things, which Dr. Tina talked about this years ago on our show, and it took me a long time to kind of agree with her in the way, is that sex is one of the most amazing things. And I'm not talking about orgasm, is not what I mean. I'm talking about connection and pleasure with your spouse. And why on earth do we not think to protect that? Why would we like pray about your finances, pray about your kids' health, don't pray about sex? Gross.
Oh, what?
Ew. Like sex can literally be one of the most connecting, grounding, helpful, and healing things within a marriage.
Life-giving energy.
Right.
Giving,
but I would say, if y'all believe in this kind of stuff, the devil wants you to think it's the grossest thing ever to pray about sex. That's what the devil wants you to do. So don't you dare let the devil steal your joy. Or your orgasm. It says, Andy says, I bought an ATM card at Spirit West Coast at age 13, an abstinence till marriage ATM.
Uh-oh.
Abstinence till marriage card.
You bought that, you should get your money back.
Right. But one thing I did want to say too, going back to the question, you said you were happy that there wasn't shame, right? You were like, I like that there's not shame in this, and she's saying, I don't feel shame. So I grew up in a home, we were Catholic. Who cares? We didn't care about being Catholic. We did stuff in the Catholic Church, but none of us like talked about it at home or whatever. And when I was a teenager, I became sexually active really early, like super early. But I also had a very, very, very secure sense of self. Like if I'm not into you, I'm not doing anything with you. Right. See you later. Bye-bye, Felicia.
But I think that, so there was no shame around that, which is
you
good.
And then me talk to you.
Hold on, and you had a secure sense of self. However, I don't think that was a good choice for you at how young you were. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
I wasn't done with my sentence.
Go ahead then.
So yes, I think there was a lot in that was good in the sense that I made better choices because I knew who I was. I wasn't out there trying to make somebody else happy. That was actually the opposite of what I was doing. Like I wasn't like, oh, this boy likes me, so I'll do this, whatever. I was like, no, I'm not. Will you quit reading the comments? You're not even focusing. And so that was one element of this, like, I know who I am. I know what I want. And never gonna change. BTS. So I was not in any way doing anything for anyone else.
Right. Period.
End of sentence. I agree with you. I don't think I should have been doing it at the age that I was doing it at. But there was never shame. We got together. We did stuff before we got married. I was never ashamed of it. The only thing I ever thought was, sure hope no one in the church finds out. Sure hope our Christian friends don't get mad at us. What does that have to do with health and love and Jesus and connection and health and wellness? Nothing. That's fear of a person, right? So now, again, I'm going back to this. Don't get mad at me. I am not advising people who are not married to go have sex. That's not what I'm talking about. But I need to say, like, you have to have healthy understanding. If you're having sex for somebody else's benefit, if you don't feel comfortable, if you, all of those things, that's a sign of it not being right in the sense of this is not something healthy for me.
Right. And can't people look at it from a mature adult perspective?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, sure, kids, like we're going to teach our kids. Yeah. We're going to make the best emotional choices, and there's some guidelines and parameters and stuff around that. But we're mostly talking about adults here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
I don't think we have any kid listeners, right? Nobody's, no 12-year-old is downloading our show and commenting on stuff. So what if we look at it that way? And going back to the wisdom quote of everything is permissible, but not everything
Right.
is beneficial,
Mhm.
right? Just like anything. So, okay. So again, back to the question. This person is saying, hey, how do I talk to this? How do I talk about this with my Christian
Mhm.
friends? So, I don't know. I would want more context. Are they like hella judgy to you, or like, ooh, this here and this stuff? You know, do you feel ostracized or judged or shamed by them? Then okay, let's maybe look at new friends here.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
no. Let me say it like this. I think is
For real.
the best way to look at it is the most successful thing that has worked for me. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say it that way. So there's an immense social pressure to conform, right? Especially in a church setting when you're like, the option is conform or go to hell and burn, right? Like that's a tough one. And so there's social pressure that makes you go, I guess I'll just say what everybody thinks I should say. Like, I don't know. But what I've learned over the years is that there's an element of acceptance that you give to yourself. And then when you give it to others and you actually say out loud explicitly, like, this is a path that I took, right or wrong, good, bad, whatever. Like, this is what I chose. And I honor what you choose. Like, we can have differences and it's all right. And you say that out loud to the person you're talking to. You say, you know what? I actually don't feel a lot of shame about this. And it's something I've been praying about. I've been thinking about it. And maybe down the road I'll feel different. Maybe. But right now I don't worry about it. And I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing. The main thing that people get wrong when they try to talk to people about something they know they don't agree with is they try to convince them to agree with them. That ain't gonna happen.
Representational differences,
Right.
promoting linkages, and what's the other one?
Honoring differences and promoting linkages is
That's
what
right.
you're saying. And so that's the biggest fault that people have is that they go, well, I think this way, so therefore everyone should think this way. That is not helpful. Christians in the world of Christianity can't even think the same way. That's why there are different types of churches, Baptist, Methodist, or I don't even know. I can't even think of more than that. But like some people dance, some people don't use instruments, some people don't wear hats, some people only wear dresses. Like we can't even agree on the clothes that are okay to wear for church. We're not going to agree on this stuff.
That's pretty good. Bill says, knowing what we know about the importance of sex in a relationship, I would think that having sex before marriage should be required to ensure compatibility. If nothing else, there needs to be conversations about needs, desires, and boundaries prior to marriage. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, oh, the adage of, well, I'm gonna test drive the car before the thing, you know.
I ain't buying a car. I don't test drive.
Well, yeah, I
wanted to make like so many dirty jokes just now.
Well, go ahead. But if nothing else, there needs to be conversations about needs, desires, and boundaries. Yes, that's the thing. Healthy conversations around this. I may think something bonkers about sex and healthy intimacy that you don't, and you're like, wait, what?
And here's the crazy thing. You bring up such a good point. Like this idea that, again, I go back to sex is one of the most important things in a marriage. As much as we don't want to say that, especially Christians don't want to say that. Good God, they don't want to say that. They want to be like, no, love and respect. Like, no, you got married partially because you wanted to have sex. And you're going to be having sex with that person for a very long time. It is, again, I go back to this idea, like, the devil wants to steal your joy and be like, shh, don't talk about it. Shh, that's bad. Shame on you. Don't do that. The church will find out.
Right.
And there you go. You haven't test driven your car that you're going to be stuck with for 50 years and be like, wow, I wish I knew the gear shift didn't work right or the clutch was broken. Oh. How many of you got a broken clutch out there? Anyway, but I think that's a really interesting point because like people are so terrified of it as if it's different, biblically speaking, than lying or stealing or thinking a bad thought
or gossiping or filling your face with food
or weighing 700 pounds and like getting divorced. And again, I'm not trying to judge anybody, but the church is deeply judging
others.
Right.
Gosh, I have so many thoughts about that. It's probably whatever. I'm not going to
say it's probably
no. It's not cogent to the conversation. So, what was I saying? Okay. So if you guys are finding yourself like, yeah, geez, all these things, I have a lot of sexual shame from the church or society or whatever, then you may need counseling, right? And we have a great sponsorship from Faithful Counseling. And if you go to getfaithful.com/anatomy of marriage, you yourself, you with the shoulders, I said that last time, can be hooked up with a licensed therapist. I'm a licensed therapist with over 13 years experience, literally tens of thousands of hours of clients, of couples, of research, all this stuff. And you can get hooked up with a licensed therapist. Oh, guess what? Do you have to drive anywhere? No. Do you have to wait in a lobby? No. You click a button and you get hooked up with a licensed therapist on your phone when you go to getfaithful.com/anatomy of marriage. What about confidentiality? It's HIPAA compliant. HIPAA means, I oftentimes get this wrong, it's Health Insurance Privacy and Portability Act. That means everything is confidential.
Right.
Or it might be Health Insurance Privacy and Accountability Act. I don't remember. I need to create a neural pathway. But anyway, if you go to getfaithful.com/anatomy of marriage, you can get hooked up with a counselor. Some of your insurance might pay for it. And because of COVID, everything has moved to telehealth. We're all online. We're doing Zoom calls. We're doing Skype. They have a private portal where everything will be secure. So go to getfaithful.com/anatomy of marriage. If you're on the fence about it, go ahead and pull that trigger today on Friday. Get hooked up with the therapist today so you can have some momentum going into next week. If things are going sideways or they're kind of bonkers in your life right now with your marriage, with yourself, depression, anxiety, go to getfaithful.com/anatomy of marriage.
Someone says, yes, counselor/therapist, not your pastor. Amen to that.
A triple man. Yeah. Eric Johansson, accountability. HIPAA with 2 A's. Thank you, sir. You must be a therapist or an insurance adjuster or something. So thank you so much.
That's funny. I do want to comment though, the counselor/therapist piece. Dr. Tina Shermer Sellers, who is an amazing sex therapist. She was at Seattle Pacific University. She's in season 1 of our podcast. We did sex therapy with her. She's amazing. She talked about this idea that couples go to their pastor or their church counselor person, which we did that. And they go there and so many couples have sexual dysfunction. They go and they try to talk to their pastoral counselor about it. One, you guys, the pastoral counselor at that church, doesn't matter what church it is, has their own bias. And because they are not trained, they don't know that they have a bias and that they're going to throw that bias in your face like hotcakes. They're going to be like, gross, perv, go, you're sinning, go do, 7 rosemaries. Right. I don't even know. Rosaries.
Oh my gosh.
Rosemaries.
Hey, Dad.
I wondered why it sounded weird.
Hey, this is totally random, but if you want to join in and just have a quick combo, request to join. We'll talk to you for couple minutes. What's up? I know we're going to be coming on your show. We want you back on our show and move this train forward, brother. So hope you're doing good. So yeah.
But I want to talk about this.
Rosemary's. Go talk to your pastor about rosemary, the spice.
It's really important that you actually talk to a certified therapist with clinical hours. They have support teams. They have all that stuff in place so that they do not bring their prejudging bias into the game, because that's not a therapist's job.
Are you talking about counselors?
Yes, not. So don't go to your church pastor and think, what?
Don't say don't go to your church pastor, because that's a source of connection and supports.
I'm saying for sexual stuff.
Okay.
Like if you have sexual dysfunction in your marriage, there is so much research around this idea that your church pastor is not going to be the right person to help you. Not because they're bad, not because they're dumb. That is not their zone of genius, okay? Typically speaking, you might have an amazing pastor or counselor at your church who's like, no, that's what I'm certified in sex therapy. Right. That would be rad.
If there's a spiritual problem or something like that going on, then go get wisdom from your pastor. But luckily, we had a pastor who also was a licensed mental health counselor who was great.
He's the pastor that made the difference.
That's right. Bill says, do you think that the church should keep out of our bedrooms? To be honest, it's this purity culture which has me freaking out about the number of priests and church leaders involved in scandal. Yeah. Where does the Bible talk about sex talk being sinful anyways? I don't know. There's a million verses that says, pluck your eye out, blah, blah, blah. Oh, blah, blah. I just blah, blah, blah.
Don't blah, blah, blah the Bible.
Text, right? So that's funny. And I'm not doing that
flippantly,
disrespectfully or flippantly. Yeah, there's a ton of verses, and I kind of want to get into what that says, because it's not a whole conversation about that. I'll just maybe kind of couch this or wrap this up in, okay, we're adults here. We can do anything we want. Not everything is beneficial to us. I can go and eat 1,000,000 scones, but that's not beneficial. I can go to the gym every day, and that is beneficial. That is healthy. That will produce other fruits in my life. So be a man, be a woman about it. Use your best judgment. And if you find yourself not using best judgment more often than not, and this isn't a counseling problem, guess what? You need a coach. If you've been struggling with this for 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, thinking these same repeating thoughts over and over. In therapy talk, we talk about, are you at an impasse with yourself? If you could do it alone, you would have done it already. Mm-hmm. So join a mastermind. Dad Edge podcast. Larry Hagner has a really great mastermind, a really great group. What is it called? The Alliance, right? There's all kinds of masterminds out there. We do coaching, me and Melanie, right? So you get our experience from going through something crazy, coming out of it for the better, right? And then also therapy experience, etc. So email us at coaching@anatomyofmarriage.com. And y'all, we don't want part-time players in this, right? There is nothing worse. I've had a billion part-time players in counseling, and it is a lame job.
You get a client who just tries to convince you that they're stuck.
Right.
And it's like, no, my job is to unstick you.
My job is to unstick you, right? But I'm not going to do the work for you.
Right.
So if you're there, if you realize, if you admit to yourself, like, oh my gosh, I thought I could do it myself for 10 years, because that's what I thought. I can't, because I would have done it already. Go get a coach. So email me or Melanie at coaching@anatomyofmarriage.com. And let me just talk about that. You guys are coming here. I'm getting emails all the time, and it's amazing. It is clearly my zone of genius, and it absolutely is Melanie's zone of genius. When we're in the deep stuff with a client, with a coaching client, it is like, okay, let's do this. Guess what? Because we've been there. It's like we trudged up and down this trail for the majority of our marriage.
Right.
I see that. I've been there before. Yep. I had this high, I had this low a million times. Hot, cold, hard, soft, everything. Right. We've been there, and we can really resonate with or identify with the clients that we get. I've been there. Geez. So get somebody who has had experience. If you want financial advice, go to someone who's been in the stock market for a long time, right? Investment advice, whatever. Go to someone who's an entrepreneur who works hard. Don't go to a homeless person for financial advice, right? If you want to get in shape, if you want a nice body, don't go to a fat person. They don't know, or they would have done it also, right? So if you need that extra boost, no, not an extra boost, just like, yeah, I'm ready to kick it up. So 60, 90, or 120 days, email us at coaching@anatomyofmarriage.com. We're super excited to see who emails us and to see who's going to take that jump.
It reminds me, if y'all are like us, like we've got neighbors that have every tool humanly possible, because they've done everything humanly. Right. They've paved their own driveways. They've fixed their own roofs. They've got every tool in their garage. Those are the friends that you want to have, right? That's us in this space. Like, we've got every tool. We've walked every stupid road. We know where all the pitfalls are. We've got everything there for you. So yeah, check it out, coaching@anatomyofmarriage.com. But I do want to say, to Bill's comment, he says, about like why is purity culture, whatever, freaking out about all this stuff, and what does the Bible say about stuff? So the Bible has been altered many times by many governors and rulers and kings and all this business. So there's stuff that we don't see in the normal Bible. I'm gonna call it the normal Bible. Has a bunch of books taken out, has a bunch of text taken out. What is the stuff that Tina talked about? The Jewish, there are stories in the Kabbalah, like, that are they're sex positive, but they're not in the Bible anymore. They're not in our version of the Bible anymore. So be critical thinkers.
Right. Ooh,
if you're reading verses or thinking to yourself, I'm just trying to get me some, watch this, I'll make it fit. I'll make this work. I can figure, no, stop it. Like, if you are trying to manipulate this conversation right now so you can get more of what you want, that's not critical thinking. That's you're being a baby. You're trying to steal someone's toy. That's dumb. But if you can actually ask yourself and critically think and pray about this stuff, right? Pray about it. You ever thought about that? I want to have premarital sex with my boyfriend. Pray about it. Okay? Let's see. What does that say? Go to the homeless person and fat person for what not to do, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that.
We're not trying to shame somebody or anything like that.
I'm not shaming anything. But if you know what you want, you can't do it alone. Go to somebody who has what you want.
King James is dead. Let's move on.
Right?
That's really funny.
That is funny.
I never even thought about that. Right.
So okay, let's move on. This is obviously
such a weird thought. That's like reading the Queen Elizabeth Bible or something. That is a really
She's alive. She's as old as my grandma.
That's what I'm saying. The King James Bible, the Bible of a King James. Weird. Queen Elizabeth. Just how my brain works. Ain't nothing. Okay.
All right, so on to the conversation starters, you guys. We use these. We actually use our own app. When we go on dates, when we're just hanging out, hey, pull out the conversation starters. Let's talk about something that we didn't think about before. Actually, Melanie made all of them, so she knows the questions, but I don't. And it really, and she hasn't asked me a bunch of those questions either. So it is a good thing. So remember to go to anatomyofmarriage.com, check out our app, get the Anatomy of Marriage app wherever you get apps.
This is a good one based off of what we just said.
And I'm not talking about Applebee's.
This is to prove to all y'all that we're not terrible sinners from H. What are some of your favorite verses from the Bible and why?
Well, one of them is everything is permissible, not everything is beneficial. And another one, and for some reason, I chose this verse to read at our own wedding.
I know.
And one of my friends from the band Emery, go check them out, Devin Shelton, read it. Happy Married After says she made the questions. That's cheating at the game. That's funny. Not really, because she asked me, and I don't know. So, and it is I think it's from James, and this is I consider just all this just wisdom, right? Consider it pure joy, my brothers, when you go through trials of every kind, because like refining of the fire is going to make you stronger.
Trials
right?
bring perseverance.
And oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. I'm not saying that in vain. I'm like, dear God, what a foreshadow that was.
Yeah.
On our wedding day. On our wedding day.
Okay. Keep on. So that's one of your favorite
Kev on stage
verses.
Right now. Yeah. And okay. And guess what? I'm stronger for it. The caterpillar has to be uncomfortable before he goes and flies and gets beautiful wings as a butterfly. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's where we are now. We've been through a lot. There's been a lot of brain change and habit change, actually.
Right.
Maybe not brain change, habit, then brain change. You know what I'm saying? What fires together, wires together. And being consistent, 75 Hard was a godsend.
Right.
Go check out 75 Hard. It'll light you up. So, yeah, that's one of my favorite verses. What about you?
One of my favorite verses is, whom of you by worrying can add an hour to your life? And
you quote that to me often.
It is an exceptionally helpful verse. I struggled with anxiety forever. I hate flying. I'm afraid of most things. But I would literally write that verse on like a 3x5 card. Whom of you by worrying can add an hour to your life? And I would tape it up like I was laminating it, and I would carry it in my pocket. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. So that's one of my favorites, though, is everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. Whom of you by worrying can add an hour of your to your life?
Right.
There's a bunch of really good ones that I love, but
or just quotes in general. Like as I've matured, I guess I tend to look at a lot of things as wisdom stuff.
Right.
You know, there's wisdom in a billion books. They don't necessarily they don't have to be Christian. They don't have to adhere to one faith.
There's wisdom in the trees. There's wisdom in the rivers. There's wisdom in the clouds.
Right.
It's everywhere.
And that one of my favorite, I guess, non-biblical verses is, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And oh my goodness, you guys, when I've been ready for something mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, then lessons just pour in. They absolutely pour in. I'm like, where was this all my life? It was right in front of me. It was inside me even. Oh, I'm fitting to get meta.
That should be a t-shirt. That's good.
I'm fitting to get meta. That's good. But anyway, it's just that idea. And so, yeah, you got. If you want to read another one, we can, or we can.
One more.
Okay.
In what ways do you think God would like you to grow? I have lots of thoughts on that one. I think that's a good one.
I don't know. The first thing I think of that is like, oh, God is up there on a seat saying, "Hey, Seth, I want you to grow like that," and I don't really envision it that way. You know, it's like, I already know how to grow. Let me lean into that and always have a growth mindset and always be open. May I be a student to always be open? And that is what. Right. And it's not like, oh, I want to grow, physically, or work on this or work on anger. It's like, no, I want you to grow and continue to become your fully actualized, most genius self you can be. Because guess what? God is in you. Oh, that's
right.
I got meta.
Right. And it makes me think of what
Spirit is in you.
Miss Kev on Stage talked about in their episode about self-sabotage. That she was like, people write in and they ask me, why don't you talk about Jesus more or whatever? And she's like, because my assumption is that Jesus is in, like, she's like, it's a signature on every email.
Yeah,
like he's in it all the time.
Yeah, the producer said, no, it is a signature on the email. It's like, thanks, signed Seth Studley. Hey, God is in everything, right? So, hey, thanks for everything. Spirit is in everything, right?
And the way that I look at that is like, how would God want me to grow? As I go to this idea back to what Ed Milet said, I think, on a thing where he says, when I die and I get to heaven and we open the gates or whatever happens when you go to heaven, the last thing I would want to have happen is that God introduces me to the person I should have become.
Who you could have
become if you just had done it. Like,
you left all this on the table.
Right.
And it's not about $10 bazillion. It's about relationships. It's about experiences. It's about that self-actualization. You could have been this, man.
Right. And I think
you could have done this.
Even in our own, like, this is a ministry. If you get mad at me for saying that, don't. Where's your ministry? But like, this is a ministry.
Ministry in the sense of
hold up, don't interrupt me anymore. So like, I'm saying the last thing I would want to have happen is I get to heaven and God would be like, if you could have just gotten over your anxiety, you could have helped 7 million more marriages.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
I let anxiety get in the way of everything. Like, that's why I'm just like, you know what? F word to all stupid things that stop your progress, that stop your growth, that stop like you from being an amazing parent. I mean, what is the point of life if we're gonna?
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm done. Go on.
So I just read The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. You guys should read that. It's awesome. And just think if, like, okay, future cast, you get up to wherever and God says, you know what? That one time that you got caught up in ego on June 22nd, 1999, that one time had a compound effect that kept you from all this.
Right.
Believe it. Or think on the converse of that one time that you were completely in spirit and just in fifth gear jamming, and you said that one thing on the podcast, that helped somebody like Miss Kev on stage who has a bazillion followers. Oh, guess what? Then that
she transformed her
outreach. You understand what I'm saying? But the compound effect of like this one thing,
right?
You know,
think of it just in parenting. The compound effect of parenting. If you can have healthy, well-centered, well-adjusted children, there is a compound effect globally that can happen from that. And that's the way I think of it. How does God want me to grow? God wants me to be the best version of myself humanly possible, just like my elementary school.
Holy.
I am a Maple Hills Eagle. I have greatness inside of me. I will use that greatness to make good choices, to be the best me that I can be.
There you go. That's right. That's the new AOM saying. Okay, you guys, we're wrapping this up. Happy freaking Friday to you. Go put on Hella Good by No Doubt. I can't play it on YouTube or else I'll get in trouble. You guys, this show is sponsored by getfaithful.com/anatomy marriage. If you need counseling, if you need somebody to help you get through your stuff on an emotional, psychological level, repair trauma, anything like that, go to getfaithful.com and get a therapist right now. Start your appointment for next Monday, you guys. Get a handle on this. You can freaking do it. And also, email us at coaching@anatomyofmarriage.com if you want to step it the freak up.
You want me blowing up your cell phone?
No, we talk to you every single day. You think that's worth something? Yeah, it freaking is, right?
I text my coaching clients at 5:30 a.m. They're not this coast. So
I text mine, some of them at 5:05. Bro, what are you doing? Where are you at? Give me a status update. Because what does that do? That keeps our goals front and center. When we had coaching, when we spent $1 billion on coaching in 2019, I wasn't going to let a day go by and not Voxer my coach because it was very important for me to know that he knew I was doing my goals. And guess what? If I didn't Voxer him, he would be on it. Bro, what are you doing this morning? What are you doing today? Tell me. And I had to tell him, right? And that lit the fire.
Hold on. Lee says, talk about growth mindset. One of my favorite Bible verses, Romans 12:2, King James Version. And be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove that. Wait, what is that good? I can't read anything, but that's also one of my favorite verses.
That good and acceptable and perfect. Transform your mind. Every single what am I even saying? I'm getting fired up and I use the word stupid. That's not what I'm trying to say. Every book that I read is to transform
Right.
my mind.
Right.
Every podcast that I listen to
Mhm.
is to transform my mind.
Mhm.
Coaching transforms your mind, your body, everything.
That's
so if you want that, email us at coaching@anatomyofmarriage.com.
Thank you for sharing that.
We're running out of spots.
Right.
So I'll just leave it at that.
Get in
It's
where you fit
not infinite appointments that we have. Okay.
That's right.
So get in where you fit in when you can. If you want it, email us at coaching@anatomyofmarriage.com.
We love you.
Only
guys.
if you're serious. It's expensive, so don't bull crap and waste my time if you're not really into this. If you are, then let's talk.
Let's jam.
So, all right. Happy Friday. We're bringing it. Love you guys.
Have a good
Bye.
day. Bye.